Okay, so going into the new year, what was your mindset transitioning from 2024 to 2025? Like, what was on the top of the brain?
Keep executing the game plan, just refining the game plan every single day, taking what I learned in 2024, especially in the last quarter, and applying it to the plan moving forward. Really, the last 2 months, I've just been kind of dialing in the game plan for the first quarter, setting everything up, and now it's the second day of the year. So back to business.
Hey, back to business. I literally was telling a friend that I did a lot of education. I did a lot of research and studying, and there's still more to do, but I felt in my spirit, okay, you learn to play, run the play. Yeah. Now it's time to run the play.
Exactly.
So here we are. I'm on your social media and I'm seeing all these videos with you saying, create this reel, create this lighting setup for the best reel, create these angles when you're shooting your content. But what you don't talk about that much is that you dropped out of high school and you learn a lot of this stuff on YouTube, and now you're spitting it out like crazy, and people are like engaging and asking questions like they can't do it too, but maybe it's the way you coming off. Like, what inspires you to just keep on putting out this content in the way that you do?
Honestly, it's just adding value to people. I make content for like the 18-year-old version of myself, you know what I'm saying? Stuff that I would find interesting and valuable to help me along my journey. So once I dropped out of high school, I literally learned how to do everything online and just kept shooting things and working with different artists and doing things for the passion of it. And then it got to a level where I started working with major artists and major labels and started working for major labels and just progressively got better and better and better. So my entire ethos is just make cool things and just enjoy what you're doing and have a passion for it, you know, and just enjoy life.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go back to what inspired you to go crazy in terms of learning music, learning artists, and showing them a way to be their authentic self through content creation and the music that they're creating.
Yeah. Well, it kind of stems back to working with labels. I've been working with major labels for about 5-6 years now.
Okay.
And the more I got to work with the artists there, and I got to do it. The great thing about working with labels was I got to test a bunch of things and theories on their budgets.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I didn't have to spend my own money.
Correct.
But I had to approach it in a format to where I was like, all right, this is my job.
Okay.
How do I make the most out of it? And what I've learned translated the best as far as content and as far as artists connecting with their audiences, them truly being their authentic selves. Because I saw sometimes when an artist got signed to a record label, you know, they get an initial sort of momentum, and then the labels start to notice, and then they get signed, and then the labels want to do something completely different than what the artist has been doing to get them to that point. And that's when they kind of hit a roadblock to where they don't get any more momentum or more fans or more streams.
Okay.
But every time we encourage them to go back to them being their authentic selves and doing what's gotten them that far thus far, they always, you know, exponentially grow. So it's always relating back to like, who am I? What's my message to the world? And how can I, you know, connect with the other person on the other side of this screen? Right. You know, and like realizing that there is an actual human being on the other side listening. It's not just like a number. Yeah. Because that's where I feel like a lot of labels fall off. They just kind of see it as statistics, and it's a transactional thing because it's a business. Right. You know, but once people realize that they're talking to other people and helping other people, and music is this like intangible thing, but it holds so much weight. Right. You know what I mean? So kind of figuring out how to present that in a way that's cohesive with the artist and kind of is true to them. That's what I do. Okay. So let's go back a little bit. So we're working with these labels. How many did you work with, and what made you take a leap of faith out? But start with kind of, you know, you working with the labels, and what was that experience like outside of you figuring out how to create your own content and then eventually your own business? So I started a production company in 2017 called Midnight Collective. Okay. Based out of Charlotte. And we started working with local artists, and then, you know, we started working with artists from South Carolina, then artists from Atlanta, and then kind of started growing. Then we finally started working with independent labels. Right. And then from there, we started working with like the bottom tier of the major label artists, you know what I mean? And it kind of worked our way up to these major artists who are doing these incredible rollouts and selling millions of albums. And so throughout the years, I'm sorry, what was the question? I got
it's
so
okay.
caught up in my
It's
own
okay.
thing.
It's okay. So you were starting off with Midnight Collective and how you were branching off to work with different labels.
Right,
and then, because I wanted to know within your entrepreneurship journey, like what made you branch off into like you doing everything yourself?
That's right. So we started getting all these contracts on to be like contracted on to help them be part of their role.
Okay.
So my company would just get a contract for this.
Okay.
Let's say Polo G has this album coming out, and then we have a set term that we're only working with you guys for this album.
Right.
So everything we did was really based on results. If we wanted more work with the label, we needed to really show up and get the results they wanted.
Yeah, with the artist.
With the artist, with the numbers they want to hit and things like that. So we would be big on creating content and doing their digital marketing and helping them with their branding.
Okay.
And encourage them to like be on social media more, because a lot of artists nowadays, especially the cool ones, they're like, I'm not going to be on social media. Like, I'm not an influencer.
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of one of the challenges. And then from there, once we did that for about 4 or 5 years, I actually was reached out to by Rock Nation to come on board and help them create an internal content department. So that's what I did for the last year and a half.
Okay.
And then middle of last year, I started Artist Development, which is a label agency.
Okay.
Pretty much doing what we did for major labels for management groups, independent artists, and major artists now that are independent.
Right.
You know?
How did you learn how to give creative direction, how to give a strategy with artists being so different? Mm-hmm. Is the strategy kind of the same, even though the artist may be different? Like what went into that, mindset of you being able to partner and then create that execution?
For sure. I mean, everything is different based on each artist. It's not like a set formula we use.
Okay.
There's different things we've tried that we can try to apply to a different artist campaign, but everything is so tailored. And it typically starts with me sitting down with the artist for like 1 or 2 times, 2 dinners, conversations, whatever.
Right.
And just like really figuring out who they are as a person.
Right.
And seeing like my perspective of them, because I just asked them about their lives, why they love music, where they're coming from on this album, and really trying to get into their mindset of like, what does this mean to you, and how can I help you portray that to the audience through social media and through content. So it really is all relationship based, and that's like our slogan with Genesis is authentic connection. Like we don't want to work with artists that are purely transactional, because we really want to develop long-term relationships to where we can grow over the next 5-10 albums, to where you guys grow in your career and then we grow in our career, and then we keep coming back and helping each other get better, because I really believe that like I'm here to empower artists reach their fullest potential, because me doing that is going to bring out the best in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Midnight Collective, was that a leap of faith, starting Midnight Collective and then being contracted for these labels and then deciding, hey, we're going to do Genesis and really dive into artist development? Was there some risk taking in that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there still is. You know what I mean? I definitely had to, leaving Rock Nation was a big risk. And
what?
I just see where the industry is shifting.
Okay.
And being a part of a major label, it's still a corporation at the end of the day. And there's not everyone sees the shift going the same way, because a lot of people are still stuck in radio and, doing these outdated methods of marketing, in my personal opinion. They still work, but I don't think they're as effective.
Right.
And just the rate of speed, larger corporations move, it wasn't where I wanted to be.
Okay.
Personally.
I respect it.
Because I remember I was at a meeting. It was like an end of the year meeting, and I was sitting there and I was like, all right, in 5 years, if I'm not like running this meeting, I don't want to be here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I really feel like I'm here to help shift this narrative of how the music industry is functioning.
Yeah.
Because everybody can make music nowadays, and if you can know how to capture people's attention with this in your music, and then you figure out how to monetize it, you're golden. Like that's all you need. You can run up crazy numbers and have a whole career with 2 or 3 other people around you. Yeah. So that's what I really believe in, and that's what I'm helping do. So I love it. I'm real passionate about what I'm doing now.
I like it.
Yeah.
Keep that energy.
Yeah.
Keep that energy. Before we move on to kind of the artist development, the content that you're suggesting, I want to know, when you see the involvement that you kind of carry within these artists based on your journey so far, is Genesis the last stop? Like, what is the next stop between Midnight Collective, Genesis? Like, what would be that next thing?
I don't know what the next thing would be, but as far as where we are now with Genesis, there's really two sides to it.
Okay.
There's the label service side, which is more so for artists who have capital to invest in their careers, and management groups, to where we act as the label for you for a set number of releases, whether that's an EP, whether it's 3 singles. And that's super hands-on and very invested.
Right.
And then for the artists who aren't there yet or can't afford to invest in themselves at that level, there's the community side of things, to where we have an online community, and that has a bunch of video courses on how to make content with just your iPhone.
Right.
We have weekly group calls. We have a bunch of ebooks and just amazing resources for artists at a very super low monetary standpoint. It's like $40 a month, $45 a month.
Okay.
And everyone can afford that.
Yeah.
And that is like a thriving community where a bunch of independent artists can come together and be like, all right, let's figure this out. How can we make this pop? You know what I mean?
So basically you got two sides. You got one side, if your budget looking a little funny, then if your budget, you got a little bit more money.
Yeah.
You can do
I mean, it just all depends on the level of involvement you want. Because some people, like, we have a couple clients who like run multi-million-dollar businesses, but they've always wanted to do music. They can afford to pay to have the team and to have things be a little more streamlined, to where we set the plan with them, and then we spend 3-4 days in New York or LA, wherever, shooting all their content, and then they're back to running their businesses, and we're rolling out their social media plan. You know what I mean?
Okay.
As opposed to other people,
you showing them how to do it with their phone by yourself.
Because if you're truly passionate about it, you're going to make a way. It doesn't matter if you have an iPhone, a Droid, whatever. Like, people have pop shooting things off a MacBook, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter, as long as you know how to grab people's attention. And what I really like teach at the core of everything is, like, the gear doesn't matter. What matters is what you're saying and who you're appealing to, and how to make that connection with the person on the other side of the screen.
Facts.
Because everybody and their grandma literally makes music. There's literally like 70-year-old grandmas making music and like touring and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just figuring out, why should people care? Why should people listen? What are you saying? What are you standing for?
Makes sense.
That's what it is. Yeah.
How would you change the music industry? Like, if you had 1 to 3 ways that you would change it based on where it is now, what would that be?
That's an interesting question. Let me think about that for a second.
Okay. Take your time.
I think this is actually where the music industry is going. It's going to be more so shifting to personal brand. Like, the artist is a brand overall. If you think about it, that's why they always down the line open up their own businesses, their own clothing lines, whatever. So I think it's going to be more niche based, micro influencer type branding, since everyone has their own brand on social media. So you could literally have 10,000 followers on Instagram and keep consistently releasing music. And if 5,000 of those 10,000 followers care, you can sell them a single for $1 and they'll buy it. And you just made $5,000, and you could live off your music and then learn how to get better, reinvest that back into yourself. And then maybe next month you make $5,700 and then you keep growing like that. So I think music's going to where it's like, there's gonna be smaller pockets of more dedicated fans, with artists, as opposed to like, you have a huge artist that gets millions of plays, but there's only 10 of them in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How does an artist not only create the personal brand, but actually touch the people who are engaging with their content? Like, how do you do that beyond social media, in your opinion?
One of the ways I like to do it is I like to encourage artists to de-platform, which pretty much means you take your fans' information, like their email and their phone numbers, and you get them on an app like Superphone, which lets you either message them directly or have their email, some sort of email newsletter, to where you know for a fact, if I send this message, that like 5,000 of my fans are going to get it directly, as opposed to, how sometimes you post and not everyone sees it. So deplatforming is a great way to get around the algorithm. So that's one thing I encourage, is always getting your fans' information, because that way if anything ever happens to your accounts, if the algorithm's acting funny, you know for a fact if you have a new single coming out, you can make sure all your fans are going to know it's coming out.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a great thing to do. Yeah. What was
so through Superphone? So let's say you like my music and you're like, Ruby, that was fire. Am I just DMing you a number or an app link and saying, hey, if you want to hear more releases, like, is that how it goes?
So if people want to, you get a number pretty much. Okay. And if people want to text you, they'll text you, and then that automatically signs them up to your text message list. So then you could send a text message blast whenever you want. I think that's a great way, is getting people off of these major platforms, so kind of control who sees what. Okay. So you're not really playing the game.
Somebody told me that you are the algorithm. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Do you think it matters how many times you post? Is there like a certain standard? Because I know on one of your reels you said if you batch shoot a whole bunch of content, maybe spread it out every 3 days. But is there like a thing of too much content for maybe one song?
I don't know if there's too much content. I would encourage that every time you shoot content, you analyze how people are reacting to it based on your analytics, how much saves there are, how many shares there are, and how many comments there are. And every time try to learn something from your last release and get better, whether it's the visual, whether it's like capturing people's attention with the first 3 seconds with a hook, whether it's how long it is, just kind of like become a scientist in that manner. And that's kind of what I teach in the community, because I've been doing this for a while now. So like the small things I've learned that grab people's attention and retain it and keep them wanting more, like I kind of explain all of that. But definitely, I mean, the more shots you put up, the higher statistic is of making a shot. So you know what I'm saying? As much as you can put out.
Yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
So talk to me about one of the artists that you have currently within the platform Genesis or the community, and how you maybe, when you first met them, you met them this way, but now they're really showing the progress because they went through, I guess, your community. Like,
for sure.
Do you have somebody?
So we have a couple of dope artists on the label service side of things that I can't talk about just through NDAs.
Okay.
But as far as the artists who have joined on the community platform, even them hopping on the group calls, because we hop on weekly group calls, and me just telling them how I shoot a reel, and them just getting through the mental roadblock of like, oh, it is this simple. It is as simple as taking your iPhone out, hitting the 0.5 camera, and just setting it up the certain way. Yeah. It's like, I think a lot of people overcomplicate it. Yeah. And a great thing about the community is it's like, no, it's really as simple as this.
Right.
And the thing about content also is, like, I've seen $30,000 like music video campaigns not get any views, but then somebody records something with their iPhone on the same set of somebody just acting a fool or dancing or just a quick moment, and that gets millions of views and actually does way more than the music video does. So it's kind of like reframing the way you see content. All content is good content is just you tell us a story or you show some sort of glimpse of personality. Right. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I encourage. And there was a period of time when I worked at Rock Nation. I was working with a Charlotte artist named Ruben Vincent. Shout out Ruben Vincent. His mixtape just dropped. It was super fire. And he was one of the artists I was working with at the time. And we literally locked into doing, I think it was 16 or 17 weeks of content every week, just doing a freestyle, and then we do music videos on top of that. And he's really good at his own social media to begin with. And so he was doing even more stuff on top of that. Yeah. And I think over the 16 weeks, we doubled his growth. Organically, no ads, nothing. It's just clearly putting out content. Yeah. And then once we kind of dialed in who his audience was a little more, he just went crazy with his niche. You know what I mean? So.
How do you know? Okay, how do you know who your audience is? Is that who is engaging the most? Is that who you're collecting all these numbers and information from? Like, how do you really know who that target is?
I mean, it's a little bit of data, knowing who's listening to your music, and then also who do you want to appeal to? Like, who are you making music for? You know what I mean? Are you making music for 18-year-old kids in the suburbs? Are you making music for 45-year-old moms out in LA, like, you know what I mean? Who are you? Who's your ideal listener? And it's great to make like a little avatar of them. It's like, oh, they're between this age range, and they ideally have this type of job, or they're you know, or they're majority of them are females or whatever. Are you making R&B, or are you a male that's making R&B? Obviously, you're going to appeal to women. Yeah. What's their age range? What's their demographic? What do they like to? Where they like to shop? Right. You know what I mean? What other artists do they listen to? So, kind of creating that avatar helps you dial in on what kind of content you should be making. Right. Because you know, generally, these are going to be my fans. Okay. Yeah. So when you are sitting down with the artist, you're listening to their story, who they want to appeal to, and kind of their background in terms of how to create this creative direction. Are you also in the process of what they're doing in the studio to then be able to help on the other side of the creative? Typically, I don't do the music side of things. Okay. Just because A, I don't want to overstep, and B, I'm just like, if the artist has gotten there to that point in their career, you know, I'll let them do their thing. That's their craft. Once I get cool with artists and they ask me for my opinion, I'm gonna let you know.
You being honest?
Yeah, for sure.
So 100%. Do you feel like you have an ear?
I think so.
For good music, because in some of your content, you're like, you have to create good music first.
That's the main product.
So, okay, okay.
You know, as you're either going to go viral for having a great song or a horrible song. You don't go viral for having a mediocre song. Right. You know, and there's a lot of mediocre music out there. That's just how it is. Right. So I always, whenever artists send me a bunch of music and they tell me, yo, what would you want to shoot? I listen to it all and I tell them, I like these three. I don't like these, and this is why. You know? But that's also, I also tell them that's based off my personal preference, right, and my taste in music, right. So
okay, what is your taste in music?
It's a vast compilation of different artists.
What was the last thing that you listened to in your car and you're like, man, that's it?
Well, I was honestly just listening to Ruben Vincent's mixtape.
Okay, I need to go. I need to go look at Ruben Vincent.
He just dropped it, so I was listening to it, and I think we're gonna shoot something off that project. Just for fun.
What do you like shooting the best, like in terms of with an artist, content, outside, studio? Like what gets your grind going?
Whatever I can tell a story with. I believe like that's what's really missing from music videos nowadays is like good storytelling. Like I like 90s music videos, early 2000s music videos. Back when budgets were bigger, back when like filmmaking was at the core of it, you know what I mean? I'm cool with all the new 3D stuff, all the trippy things. Like I think it's cool. All the Lil Yachty stuff, that's fire. I think it's all great. But like, yo, imagine if somebody put like a Michael Jackson budget behind a video and actually had
the dancing, choreography, everything, all the things.
Everything. Different. Like, it would definitely go up.
The outfits, the costume, everything.
It's just people. I feel like people appreciate when there's so much more thought and intention going into things.
I agree.
Where now it's like kind of more like, yo, pull up, let's shoot, and then we'll see what we get out of it. But imagine if you had a team and a budget and outfits were coordinated, there's choreography, the locations are on point. Big sets, all that. You know?
Can tell it was thoughtful.
Of course.
Intentional.
Yeah. Gotta respect
purposeful.
It. That's it.
Yes. But at the same time, can an artist do that without a budget?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I feel like if you spend more time in pre-production and just
planning,
really figuring out what you want, have mood boards, have other dope people involved, even if it's just for fun.
Yeah.
I think creatives like to be a part of cool things.
Yeah.
And if it's something that's like pushing the boundaries or something different, why wouldn't they be involved? I feel like if you're an artist listening right now, reach out to a bunch of people you admire and then have a set project together, have your treatment written out, have everything locked in as much as you can, and then ask them to be a part of it.
Listen, I was at this conference at the top of last year, and there was someone on the panelist, I think she was from Shea Room, but she did drop a piece of advice that was similar. And she said, if you're in a local city, like, even if you don't need a stylist, even if you don't need a dancer, even if you don't need and you can do it yourself, reach out to people who are also kind of at the top of their niche, and then bring them all together, because that is going to reach your music a little bit more, because it's introducing them to, their communities as well.
Yeah. That's one of the best things you can do as an independent artist. Like, just think locally. Everyone wants to be on globally. Think locally. Like, if you can reach out to 10 other dope people and have them be a part of the project, when it drops, they're going to post it and it's going to reach their network. You know what I mean? So imagine if 10 different people in your city posted the same thing at the same time. You're going to make some sort of wave.
It's lit.
You know what I mean? And just keep doing that. Keep working with dope people. Think local. Try to make the most out of what you have in your city. And that's one thing I'm really passionate about. I love Charlotte. I've been here for a minute. And I really think we have some great artists. We got great creatives. We got some great food. We got some great business people. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, let's bring it all together. Let's really highlight. Because I feel like once Baby popped, I was like, oh, it's really possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who's next?
Yeah. You know who next? Yeah. Okay. So I know you said 90s, but if you had to be a part of a specific video, head of creative direction, like, do you have something in mind that you're like, dang, I want to create this, or I want to be a part of this? What does that look like?
Man, I want to shoot like a Drake video.
For real?
Oh yeah.
What would that look like? Like, what type of Drake video?
A stupid high budget one.
Well, okay. What is the difference? What does a real high budget video look like?
I think if you're spending.
What's the number too? How much?
I mean, a typical. It ranges so much. You could. I mean, a typical. What I would consider a high budget video is like $250,000 and up. You know, I mean,
250,000.
Yeah.
For the video.
For the video, yeah.
Just for the video.
Yeah, and then spend probably double that on marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, on digital marketing for sure.
So $500,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think to like really market a song, if you have a song you truly believe in and you want to go all in on it, I think you can shoot the video for like $40,000-$50,000 and then probably take $200,000 and go all in on digital marketing. I would do digital marketing. Like, some people still believe in doing radio and billboards and things like that. I just don't think you can track the results from that.
Okay.
But on the digital side of things, you could always see, oh, I spent $10,000 in meta ads here, and I have all these people's information now.
Right.
And I can see that this piece of content worked versus this piece of content worked.
Yeah.
If it's a billboard or radio, it's like, we spun your record 1,000 times.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go back, because in the 90s, a lot of the artists, they didn't have social media. They were out on the streets. They were using the radio. So how do you feel like an artist right now can touch both? They can do their thing digitally, but then also go out and, touch hands.
I think having strategic rollout campaigns to where it's like, let's say an artist in the city is about to drop, right? So they have all their content lined up. They're going to run targeted ads in the city whenever their music drops, like radius of Charlotte. And then I would try to organize as many outings for me as possible if I'm the artist, like shows, pop-ups. I'm going to just be active, you know what I mean?
Right.
Doing podcasts, everything.
Right.
So that way, whenever my song drops, you see all my content because it's on my page. You see all my content because people are sharing it. You see all my content because it's being targeted to you on ads. You see me on podcasts. You see me outside whenever we're at small functions. You know what I mean? You see me everywhere.
Yeah. We outside.
Yeah. So organizing that momentum, that's really what it is. You have to create momentum.
Right.
You can't just be locked up in the crib. You know what I'm saying? So you got to really be strategic about like, when I drop, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to reach out to access their networks. This is how I'm going to spend this budget. These are the shows I'm going to do. This is like the press I want to get from all this. So really be strategic. I think really the days of releasing music on SoundCloud, posting it on your story and telling people to run it up, that does not work. You know what I mean?
Or what is out now? Like
no, at all.
We're not saying out now.
No, if you're not using like a ManyChat automation to automatically DM people the link to your music, I don't even think the link in bio thing works anymore.
So what you saying? When you drop new music, what are you saying? Are you just kind of creating great content and letting that speak for itself?
I'm creating great content, and then at the end of the content, I'm having a call to action, whether it's me talking to the camera or like some text that's saying, if you want to pre-save this new single, comment the word whatever. Yeah. And then I'm going to have a ManyChat automation on the back end, send you the link directly. Because, people are lazy. You need to have them be able to click it.
User-friendly.
Yeah. So it's super low friction.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send it to you directly. And then once you click on it, I'm going to get your information. And then that way I'm going to market to you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And with these ads, do you not recommend putting out the content organically and then seeing what does best first before running the ads? Or are you like out the gate with it?
It depends based on your goals and the time span you have for this rollout. But what I would do if it's, let's say if you're releasing a single top in a month and you have 12 pieces of content, I would release all the content and then have that content run for 30 days. And after those 30 days, I'd see what content performs the best organically. Mm-hmm. Then out of 12 pieces of content, we have 3 that do really good engagement numbers. I'll take those 3 pieces of content after 30 days and run low ticket paid ads, which is like a couple dollars a day.
Yeah.
Right. And then after another 15 to 30 days, I'll see what pieces of content out of those 3 do the best. And then I'll ask myself if I want to like go all in and put a higher budget behind that one piece of content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a strategy.
Of course. I mean, yeah, for sure.
He was like,
it's my job.
No, I know. It definitely is a strategy. And I think the more intentional that you are with everything, I would hope that the people see that too, especially the frequency of it.
Yeah, people think it's just making content, posting it, or having the quality be good. I get hit all the time, like, yo, what camera are you using? What lens are you using? Like, I'm like, it's not going to make a difference if you shoot on a $50,000 camera. If your content sucks, if you don't know how to like get my attention within the first 3 seconds, or if it's boring, like it's not going to matter. That's why, like, there's this great piece of content that I keep referring back to. It's literally this guy shot it on his iPhone. It's like 15 seconds.
Okay,
and he looks like he hasn't had a haircut in like years.
Okay.
He looks raggedy, right? So he like literally steps out. It doesn't say anything. His song's playing in the background and he just keeps pointing up. Every time he points up, there's a different text prompt. And it basically says over the 14 seconds, I'm 65 years old and I left my wife and kids to pursue my rap career. Then the next text prompt is, my wife's new husband has way more money than me. And then the last text prompt is, help me make this song go viral so I can prove them wrong, right? And that when I first saw
that's a story.
That's exactly. And it's 14 seconds. He shot on his iPhone and his song's playing in the background and it's kind of like a low bop. And so I rewatched it like 3 times because I'm trying to read the text and like put it all together. And then I'm like, okay, there's no way this guy's 65, but he could be. Yeah. I don't know. He kind of looks homeless. And then I'm like, just following the story, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's make this song go viral. Like right. He wants to prove it to his wife.
Yeah.
14.5 million views. Dang. Took him 15 seconds to shoot. I'm like, that's creative. Just get creative. Yeah. Like, you're out here entertaining people. Let's figure out how to capture their attention. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Didn't cost them anything.
And you pulling on them heartstrings of the people who relate to that.
Exactly.
Those text prompts.
Exactly. So just even figuring that, even after, let's say out of those 14.5 million people, 50,000 of them went on his page and clicked the link in bio, which is like probably way more did, but let's say conservatively 50,000 people clicked on that link in bio. And out of those 50,000 people, let's say 25,000 of those people streamed the music. Right. You just got 25,000 streams off of a 15-second video that costs you nothing. Yeah. It's just the idea.
Yeah. What do you think about, okay, so TikTok's supposed to be going away. Like how the artists who are posting way more on there versus Instagram, like how would you recommend they shift with the possible shift that's coming with TikTok?
Personally, I don't think TikTok's going to go away. I don't know how.
I don't think it is either. I do too. That's all like, but you got to think about if it do. True. They want it to go away.
I just think there's too much money being made on TikTok in America for people to not have access to that. Yeah. There's way too much money involved. But if it is going to go away, I think people should start like transitioning their followers to either Instagram or like deplatforming, like I said, like getting their information directly and just making videos about it once a week. Like, yo, just in case TikTok's not going to be here in a month, like sign up for my text message community, or like, yo, here's my Instagram. And try to like funnel as many people as possible off the platform just to be safe. But goes back to the whole deplatforming thing. That's why it's so important to have all your fans' information just in case the government wants to get crazy.
Right. You already can still touch those people regardless. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to be on Instagram or Twitch or Twitter or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, facts. Okay, so you said the community, you will only want to create real relationships with people who are intentional. What is an artist who is an artist that you're like, you wouldn't work with?
Like mainstream?
just in terms of like your community and how you're saying it's tight knit relationships, like
egotistical artists.
Okay.
People who think they're, I get hit up all the time. Like, yo, my music's like, I'm the next one up. My music says it all. Da da da. I'm just like, bro, if that was true, you wouldn't be hitting me up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just like, I really like working with people who are just creative and humble and just want to be the best artists they can be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because then that inspires me to be great as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's people who don't have an ego about it. Just true artists who create for the sake of creating, whether there's some sort of money involved or not. Like, they just are going to be artists at the end of the day. And that's what I really respect. Because end of the day, like, everything aside, I'm just here to make cool art. And just express myself and do that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's your time. Get on your grind. Make it happen with all your passion. Go hit the streets. Slow feet don't need.
What is the one thing that you hope to see for Genesis by the end of the year?
By the end of the year, have at least 300 members a month.
Okay.
Subscription wise, I think we're going to hit that way earlier.
Okay.
Just based on the numbers we have now. And then to have successfully created a community for an artist that we work with on the label service side of things and help them monetize it to the point where it's paying for itself as far as label service fees and then their ads and things like that.
Right.
Because we have a couple of artists that we're working with now to kind of help take who have pretty good followings.
Right.
But they don't necessarily know how to monetize that following. Right. And there's a couple of label situations involved. But helping them create their own platform, which is a community to monetize their lifestyle, and so they can grow and scale at their own pace, as opposed to trying to get a check from a label,
right?
Or, having to ask their fans for like, yo, I need y'all to buy this single, you know?
Right. I mean? Do you think it's possible for an independent artist to do very well without any help from a label?
Oh, for sure. Now more than ever. Okay. I think I'm gonna put y'all on real quick. Labels are trying to do what independent artists are doing. They're trying to figure out their game plan and literally copy it. The reason labels are successful is because there's a team of people who it's their literal job. They clock in and clock out to make this artist pop or make this plan work. And B, they have resources to try a bunch of different things. And the rate they do it at is quick.
Yeah.
If this didn't work, all right, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. And they just approach it in a manner to where it's like, yo, this is their job.
Yeah.
If artists approach it the same way, even if they do have a regular job, but if once they clock out and come home and they treat their career like their job,
right?
Seriously, they will get somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all about setting goals, figuring out a plan, and then just doing it, executing it.
Yeah.
Failing every single day. You're going to fail so much. That's why you have to be passionate about this.
Right.
That passion is going to get you through all the failure till you start hitting the successes.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not going to happen in 3 months. It's probably not going to happen in 6 months, and it probably won't happen in a year. But if you do this for the next 3 years, consistently, day in and day out, and keep getting better and learning new things, you will change your life.
Okay. Don't quit your 9 to 5.
No.
Use that.
For sure. Because if you quit your job and go all in, it's gonna delay everything, because in about 3 to 5 months, once the money runs low, you're gonna be so swamped with the thoughts of paying bills and figuring out how to get a bag.
Right.
You're not even gonna be thinking about the music, and that's gonna slow all the content down. It's gonna slow your entire rollout, everything.
Your mental ain't gonna be
no,
the same.
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all. So set yourself up for success. You know what I'm saying? Have some steady money coming in. Yo, get that job at Amazon. You know what I'm saying? Clock in.
Right.
Get that job at the airport with the flight benefits. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Take the flight, shoot the content, come back.
Shoot, right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Why not?
Right. Why not? Listen, what's one thing that you learned from any record label that you still hold on like today? Like you're like, I'll never forget that because of, what you either were able to witness there or what you heard or just a strategy?
One, there's a couple things.
Okay.
But one is perception is everything. All right. So learn how to shape the perception of who you are, of who the character of your artist is. You know what I'm saying? Be authentic 100%, but figure out how to kind of like almost over exaggerated.
Like be extracurricular
type. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, people want to, people get mesmerized by these huge artists. Like I always refer back to Michael Jackson. Like Michael Jackson used to literally be at concerts and look at people and women would just faint. Like people would pass out left and right. But nothing Michael did was regular. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like even if he stepped out on some regular thing, he would be dressed up, all the glitter, all this stuff. Yeah. Glove on, everything. You know what I'm saying? So like, and whenever people saw that, they probably never forgot that for the rest of their life. Yeah. So be that. You know, embody that like level of artistry. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, end of the day, you could always be regular at the crib. You know what I mean? But that's what people want to see. Yeah. That's why people are so infatuated with these like artists who have like weird looks or their outfits are crazy or they Doja Cat shaving their eyebrows. You know what I'm saying? Like just like they're weird, but okay, I'm gonna follow them. So that's one thing. Perception is everything. So control the way people perceive you. Yeah. Ask yourself like, what do I want my brand to be? Like, am I the fashion person? Because good music is good music, but at the end of the day, you got to be someone interesting too. Yeah. That's why all the tabloid stuff does so much more for people's careers than just the music. Yeah. And the second thing is plan the work the plan. Got to have a plan in motion. Yeah. Know what I mean? And diligently follow it and get closer to it every single day. I think
what I keep coming back to is your foundation is everything. That kind of story is everything because that's going to dictate every piece of content, every piece of music, because it's going to all tie back into that. So really taking time to really nail down that foundation.
For sure. And just figuring out what makes you unique as a person. Like if you have a hobby of rock climbing and you make like lo-fi house music, I'm sure there's other people in the world who love rock climbing and love that genre of music. You know what I mean? So figure out how to incorporate that into your branding. Right. You know, if you like fashion and then you also like the hoop and then you make trap music, like figure out how to blend all that together. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be on the court playing in a crazy fit and doing a performance. You know what I'm saying? Just figure out how to blend what makes you uniquely you into your branding. Okay. Yeah. Is there anything you want to share that you feel like we haven't hit on or that you just want to get out as this is the beginning of 2025, the year to thrive? That's it. It is the year to thrive. And you're not going to thrive if you don't get a plan in motion and actually go out and start failing, because you are going to fail. But just commit to the long-term journey of it and just know no matter what, God got you and you're going to get there. Listen, you know what I'm saying? Hallelujah. That's right. So just commit to doing it. And one thing I'm incorporating more in my life right now is just enjoying it all, because I'm so goal oriented and I tend to kind of like not dumb down, but kind of play down my achievements or what I've done. Because once I hit a goal, I'm like, all right, here's the next one. And I don't give myself time to kind of like celebrate your wins. Yeah. And just enjoy it. I love the process of it. So I'm always like, you know, I'm always like going for the next thing. I want to get bigger and better. So enjoying the moment and enjoying the people around you and realizing that like, yo, we're having fun. We're creating, you know what I'm saying? We're making music. Like that's why you started making music, because it was fun. Right. And you're always going after that feeling of like creation. So enjoy it all. But if you want to get, you know, results, treat it like a job. Have a plan and lock in and do something every single day that's going to get you closer and closer. Yeah. Okay. So give us a piece of advice. And at the end of that advice, it could be to an artist, to someone who's thinking about putting out the music that they keep writing at home, or someone who maybe has peaked, but kind of like got a little stagnant. Give us some advice and then finish the sentence with a little attitude, with a little swag. If not you, who? Okay. Follow your dreams, because you don't know how long you got here on this planet. And what's the point of living if you're not actually living and chasing your dreams? And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? When? That's right.
No, I love that. Thank you so much. This was good.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
No, I appreciate you too. You literally dropped so many gems, and I can't wait to see what 2025 has in store, because I got a little fire. You just gave me a little fire.
What I'm saying? Start the new year off right.
Listen, extra. It was the extra curriculum for me. Tight.
You feel me?
I felt it.